Welcome back, eSIM Studios Mobile Tech News. My name is Taylor Bell. Today is Thursday, May the 22nd, 2025. Appreciate everybody joining in today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I got a couple of news. We'll get in and out of here pretty quick. I know everybody's got stuff to do, as I do as well, but wanted to get this out there. I'm so very excited. I have, let's see, I think four topics, articles to talk about now. Most of them include Samsung, but good Samsung news, upcoming stuff we can look forward to. If anybody is a fan of Samsung and Samsung DeX, the desktop experience that allows you to use your mobile device if you connect it to an external display, essentially goes into a desktop mode. I think it's gaining popularity as I used it quite often, right? I have an OLED monitor I carry with me. I think it's a 15.6-inch OLED monitor I carry with me when I gotta leave the office, the studio, the house. It's nice having a Samsung phone. You just plug it in and boom, away you go. Little keyboard, little mouse, and you're good to go. But it allows you to be more productive, especially if you use your phone for in and around office environments. If you do a lot of emails, if you do a lot of writing, hell, you can even do a StreamYard. In fact, I was gonna make a video about how to stream from your Samsung phone. It's not an exact equivalent, but it can still be done, right? You can still hook it up Samsung DeX, and you can live stream from any platform. So that's really cool. But it's sort of interesting because as Samsung DeX was gaining popularity, it seems like Samsung was taking a step back as more and more people caught on to Samsung DeX, right? I know Apple's trying to work on something similar. They got a lot of issues. Have not really. It hasn't worked well for Apple, but they are working on a Samsung DeX-like competitor for Apple iPhones. But it seemed like as it was gaining popularity, Samsung was taking a step back. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, in the past, you could connect Samsung DeX, hook your Samsung phone up to your laptop, a computer, and you could run Samsung DeX on your laptop. Now, they reserved it just to external monitors. Which that's what I mean by taking a step back. They removed a feature. But as Samsung is kind of seemingly taking a step back and dropped the ball, it appears Google has picked the ball up and is going to run with it. Thank God. So we got a sneak peek at Google I/O just a few days ago as far as what their plans are with this quote-unquote Pixel DeX. Now, we don't have a name for it. I'm calling it Pixel DeX because it sounds cool, right? Now, what we did learn and what they did say is they've been working with Samsung hand in hand on getting this implemented in ASOP code. So what's ASOP code? ASOP Android code is the base code for Android. So if you're a phone manufacturer like nothing, you get the ASOP, the stock Android code, and you fill out with your code, with your themes, with your apps. You build upon that code, right? So this will be implemented in base ASOP. Now, I wrote an article on it. Let me pull it up here. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know if this will be available. When they said ASOP code, they're implementing this in stock Android. I don't know if this means it's going to be available for all manufacturers to build upon. Like, if this is built in the stock Android ASOP code, is OnePlus going to be able to grab a hold of it and theme it and modify it to their liking, and then you'll have a OnePlus DeX? Possibly. Right? Let's knock on wood. I hope so. I hope every Android manufacturer implements some sort of desktop mode. Now, Motorola has their own. It's not as feature packed as Samsung's, obviously, but it looks like. But what we do know is it will be available on Pixel devices. Now, it's not available on the latest Android 16 QPR1 Beta 1 that was just released a couple days ago. It's not available on that, but they did say that it will be available in the upcoming quarterly release, meaning we should have it ready to roll, at least a early version of it, probably within the next beta update or two. So huge news on that. Now, I got some pictures and information here. It says Google announced this desktop mode for Android phones, bringing a PC-like experience to external displays. So it sounds like it will not be available, meaning it sounds like you cannot run it on laptops. It will be reserved only for external monitors, but you can hook it up to your TV in the living room, right? If you got Netflix on your phone, any app on your phone, you can run on this DeX. Sorry. So you can hook it up to an external monitor, hook it up to a TV, whatever you want, right? Even if you have a mounted a monitor like I do here behind, or I guess where you're looking from, where the camera's from, I have a 24-inch HD monitor here. Run that, right? And so this is built with Samsung on the DeX Foundation. Samsung got so good at it. I think Google approached Samsung and said, "Hey," well, I think Google was thinking, Samsung DeX is awesome. It's not perfect, but it's pretty freaking good. And I think Google was saying, you know what? Instead of us building something from scratch, they have such a good relationship with Samsung, right? They're making the new Android XR glasses. Android's bringing the software, Samsung's bringing the hardware. So they've worked on many projects together in the past. And I think Google said, you know what, let's approach Samsung and see if we can if we can have access to this code and build upon it, kind of tweak it to make it more pixel-like. And that's exactly what they're doing. And Google said that. It offers an enhanced desktop windowing experience and will be testable in Android 16 quarterly beta. This mode enables free-form app windows, independent display operation, and the ability to extend sessions across multiple screens. Another cool thing, you will be able to use your phone and your external monitor independently. So you will be able to run separate apps. So how this is going to work is you're going to connect it. And I don't know if it'll be wireless. Let's hope so. The more options they include in this, the better. But early leaks show you just simply hook a USB Type-C cable from your phone to your external monitor. Now, what's interesting in this picture, this is not a laptop. In this picture, it's a external monitor. It's a laptop minus an operating system. So this is basically built just for DeX, but it gives you a laptop experience, right? They sell those on Amazon. You can get them in a number of places, right? But you simply connect your phone to your external monitor via USB Type-C, or if your monitor only has HDMI cable, go grab a HDMI to USB Type-C cable, right? Hook it up that way. And away you go. Now, we've got some quotes here. This is from Google. We've been collaborating with Samsung, building on the foundation of Samsung DeX to bring enhanced desktop windowing capabilities in Android 16 for more powerful productivity workflows. In Android 16, we've been adding foundational platform support for connected displays that will be available in AOSP in the coming months in developer preview. Some of the key features that we will have here: minimum window size 386 by 352. Apps can create custom headers. Desktop sessions can be extended across both internal and external displays on devices like tablets. Internal and external displays operate independently with apps specific to each display. Windows, content, and the mouse cursor can move freely between displays. What you'll do is you'll get a Bluetooth, or you can get a wireless receiver and get a USB Type-C hub and plug it into your phone, or simply get a Bluetooth mouse, Bluetooth keyboard, connect it to your phone, and then connect your phone to the external monitor, you'll get this Pixel DeX up and running. And then you can use apps freely. You can put your phone up here. That's when the Pixel Fold will come in handy, because you can mount your Fold up here. You can get the Pixel DeX up on your display. You can essentially have two displays. Again, apps are independent of each other, so you can pull apps up on your phone. You can pull different apps up on your external monitor. Now, one thing that I am requesting, Google, I know some people at the Made by Google team, Pixel team members are subscribers of this channel, and I'm going to forward you this video because I do want you to implement one thing. I have one simple request. Please, 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 when the device is connected to the external monitor, please allow for 120 hertz to be up and running on the phone when connected to the external display and your Pixel DeX is running, because that's one gripe I have about Samsung and running Samsung DeX, is when I connect it to my monitor, the phone bumps down to 60 hertz and it's like slow as molasses, right? Like it really pains me to use the phone in 60 hertz when I'm so used to it being so fast and smooth. Please, whatever you got to do, make the phone run in 120 hertz refresh rate while the Pixel DeX is initiated. Please, please, please. That would make me at least like it that much more. So here's some pictures we got. This is when they were basically explaining it at Google I/O. Connected displays, desktop windowing, so it's just like Windows. It's just like Mac OS, where you can create windows, resize them. You can run two apps side by side. I think you can run up to four windowing apps at one time that are resizable. Minimum window size, so you could, I guess technically you could put 1, 2, 3, 4. You could probably have 6 to 8 apps up there at once. If that's the smallest window and you move this window all the way to the left, top left, you could probably fit 3 across comfortably at the top and 3 across comfortably in the bottom. So you can run basically 6 apps at once on one display. And this was for developers here, build adaptive apps. So it is available right now for developers to get their code implemented, but it will be for our use, the public use, in the beta form in the upcoming quarterly release, which again should be in the next update or two. So here in the next couple months, we'll have a Pixel DeX-like experience. I'm very, very excited. As you can tell, it'll also work with tablets. So if you have the Pixel tablet, it'll work as well. Connect your tablet to an external display just like that, and away you go. Very cool. So be on the lookout for that. And again, we don't have a name for it. I'm just calling it Pixel DeX, but it'd be cool if they could. They'll probably have to name it something else, but whatever. I'm going to call it Pixel DeX. So more Samsung news. So if you're a Galaxy Watch user, check this out. So the Galaxy Watches have been kind of stagnant as far as design these last couple of years. The only watch they've released that has a different look, well, I shouldn't say the only, but their classic design, and then they have a Watch Classic and then a Watch Ultra. Now, they're going to sort of redesign the new Watch 8 Classic, and I do like the way it looks. So check this out. We got new CAD renderings of the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic, and let me show you what it looks like here. Kind of looks like what they did is they took the Galaxy Watch Ultra and kind of merged it with the Galaxy Watch Classic. So it's kind of like a Classic and Ultra together. Let me pause it here. You see how the front of it's kind of the kind of have that octagon, rounded octagon style. It's not necessarily a round watch. It's not necessarily a square watch. It's kind of somewhere in between. So I like that. Now, one cool feature we did get confirmation on, all of you rotating bezel lovers can rejoice. This is going to have a rotating bezel, mechanical bezel. So it'll obviously be a digital watch running Android Wear OS, but you will be able to rotate that bezel. So I know a lot of people like that feature. And it will be enabled on it. Now, when will this be released? Well, good news is that it looks like it could be released pretty freaking soon. It looks like it could be released alongside the Galaxy Z Fold 7 and Z Flip 7 series, which is going to be here in July, I believe. Basically, 6 weeks, something like that. It's expected to come. The sizes are in a single 46 by 47 size, 46 millimeter size, and is likely to feature a 450 milliamp hour battery. It's going to feature a 1.5 inch round OLED screen and measure 46 by 46.5 by 14.2 millimeters. And offer it in both LTE and non-LTE variants. Should be running One UI8 Watch OS, which is based on Android Wear OS. So very cool, very nice. Looks like a nice new Galaxy Watch for those that want one. Now, speaking of Galaxy Fold 7, and they're already shipping these things now. Not to customers, but to stores, right? To like Best Buy, if you want to check them out there, or T-Mobile to have them on display, AT&T, Verizon. They're going to ship those demo units, have already been shipped out to retail locations. That's good news because that means we are close to launch. We don't have an official launch date, but we are getting more and more info as time goes on. So what is the information we have today? Well, we do know the Fold 7 is going to be one of the, well, probably the thinnest phone when it's folded open. Basically under 5 millimeters thin. It's going to be unbelievably thin, which should be cool. Now, so you will get bigger dimensions. So it will be, when it's closed, when it's folded closed, it's going to be wider. So it's not as tall and skinny. And it's going to have a larger inside display. So they are changing the aspect ratio, but that's not the only phone. They're changing the aspect ratio too. They're also changing the aspect ratio on the Flip 7. Now, the Flip 7 is going to get a all display, outer display. In the Flip 7 FE, the fan edition, which is the cheaper of the two, is going to look like last year's Flip 6. So basically what Samsung is doing is they are releasing a new FE model, which will be more inexpensive. I'm assuming it's going to be priced around, I think. So the Flip 7 basically comes in at $1,000. Their flagship Flip that'll have the full outer display. That comes in right at about $1,000. Your Fold 7 up here is going to be what, $18.99, something like that, maybe $19.99. And then I'm expecting, since this is a brand new model, never before seen SKU, I'm thinking they're going to put this right around $799. $799 is the same price as their flagship base Galaxy S model. So the brand new S25, not the Plus, not the Ultra, but the base S25 starts at $799. I think that is what they are going to shoot for, that price point for this new FE model. And real quick, getting back to the ratio, if it looks slightly different in pictures, that's because they are changing that aspect ratio as well. So in the Flip series, as you know, if you've never had one, it's a tall device. Like when you flip it open, it's very tall. Now it fits in your hand perfectly, and actually you can type on it real nice. This time, they're changing the aspect ratio to a regular sized phone. So it'll be the same dimensions as a regular phone. It'll just fold in half, which is what I wanted them to do in the very first place. I love the Flip series, but whenever I hold it, I'm always like, God dang, this thing's tall and skinny. Well, this time it's going to be like it's going to look like a regular phone. It's just going to fold in half. So it'll be the regular phone ratio. I think that will satisfy most fans. I think most people won't really know that, honestly, but when you put it in your hand, I think it's going to feel more like a regular phone. Because when you got it open, when you got it flipped open, when you're using it, you know, just in the back of your mind, it doesn't fit and hold in your hand like a regular phone. So it just kind of feels awkward. It takes a while to get used to it. So I think moving to a regular aspect ratio is a good thing. Now, let's get to the CPU. So this is the deal with the CPU. Did quite a bit of searching online. The Fold 7 is going to get the Snapdragon 8 Elite around the globe, right? Now, we'll get into the specifics here shortly. But what they're doing with the Flip series is Samsung is going to put, remember when we discussed when the Xiaomi, when they announced their new CPU, the X-Ring, I mentioned that all these manufacturers would love to manufacture, produce, and implement their own CPUs in their own devices, right? Well, Samsung's been trying to do that forever. They have the Exynos brand. Trust me, Samsung would put an Exynos CPU in every single device it's sold if possible. They've been running into hurdles, been having issues. They just simply can't produce that many CPUs, right? They sell millions and millions. The second largest phone manufacturer in the world. They just can't manufacture. They're just not good enough to manufacture that many CPUs. That's why they have to go and get a Qualcomm for their Snapdragon CPU. But they're going to do a split CPU on the Flip series, not on the Fold series, on the Flip series. So the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 part of the world is getting their brand new Exynos 2500, right? That's their flagship CPU for the year, is the 2500. And in the Flip 7 FE, the cheaper version, they're going to put the Samsung Exynos 2400, which was last year's flagship CPU. But what are we getting here in the US? We don't know what region is getting what CPU, but I can almost guarantee you the United States is getting Snapdragon. So it is confirmed they are going to split these models. Some will be getting Exynos CPUs in the Flip 7 and the Flip 7 FE. Some will be getting Snapdragon CPUs. So some getting Exynos, some getting Snapdragon. The Snapdragon will be coming to North America and China. That's almost set in stone. That's the information I got, right? Now, and then I think that places like most everywhere else in the world, other regions are going to get the Exynos, like the UK, Europe, Southeast Asia, South America. They're getting the Exynos variants. Now, moving back to the Snapdragon variant, I think what they're going to do is what they're going to do with this S25 Edge. So we discussed how they removed a core from the the Snapdragon 8 Elite that's in the S25 Edge is a octa-core CPU, right? The one that's in the S25 Ultra, octa-core CPU, 8 cores, right? However, in the Edge, it's so thin that they actually removed a core. So it's a 7-core Snapdragon 8 Elite in the S25 Edge, and I believe they did that. They haven't made a statement, but logical thinking. They did that to cut down on the amount of heat that's generated inside the device because it is so thin. I think they're going to do the same thing for the Fold 7 because its number one competitor, the Oppo Find N5, the current thinnest foldable device in the world, has got the Snapdragon 8 Elite with 7 cores. They removed a core, reduce that amount of heat that's built up inside because it's so thin, the heat doesn't have anywhere to go. I think Samsung's going to do the same thing. They've already done that in the S25 Edge. It's got a 7-core Snapdragon 8 Elite. I think you're going to see that in the Fold 7. Now, what they could or could not do is the Flip series. Now, previous flips, if you've been a Flip owner like myself, I've had every Flip ever made. They tend to get hot. I'm not going to lie. There's been some where I'm like, God damn, this thing's hot. And they put that CPU right behind the outside display. So the CPU is placed in the top half of the phone that folds. I think this year you're going to see them put that 7-core CPU in the Flip 7. And the Flip FE is getting a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. I'm sorry, I didn't mention that earlier. So in the United States, the Z Flip 7 is getting the 8 Elite, and the Flip 7 FE is getting the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, which was last year's Qualcomm was last year's flagship CPU from Qualcomm. And who knows? I don't think they will remove a core from that. I never had any overheating issues with the 8 Gen 3, so I think they'll put the full 8 cores in the FE here in the US. I just think for that 8 Elite, it's so powerful. I think what they're going to do is remove a core for the Flip 7. So we shall see. I will keep you updated on that when I get word. And what else we got here? So before we move on to nothing for our last story, real quick, I'm going to touch on this real fast. Samsung Galaxy apps are now available on non-Galaxy PCs. This has been something that's been bugging the hell out of me, and I want to get the word out there. If there's people like you watching this, like me, that have a Samsung device, but have an HP computer, right? I don't know if this will work on MacBooks. I don't believe it will. I think it's just Windows computers, but Samsung's got a number of Samsung apps for PC, but they were only available to download and to use on a Samsung laptop, a Samsung computer. And that kind of hindered the whole ecosystem, right? Because I've tried Samsung laptops and they suck. They absolutely suck. I haven't tried their newest one, the 5th gen, I think it is, laptop. I had the 3rd gen. That was not a good PC. I did not have a good experience. That thing overheated like crazy and got very, very sluggish once you start using more than like 3 or 4 applications. Very sluggish, overheat, it would get real stuttery. Anyways, that's a whole nother story. So that's the last Samsung PC I ever had. But going back to a PC that does work like HP, well, it sucks because I can't get the full Samsung ecosystem, right? I got the phone, I got the earbuds, I got the watch, but I couldn't fully immerse myself in the Samsung ecosystem and fully integrate my whole workflow because Samsung apps wouldn't work on the PC. Well, guess what? Now they do. So Samsung opened up finally for their applications to work on all Windows computers. So currently I've tested out, they have quite a number of apps. They got like 16 apps, right? At least on my PC. I downloaded all the Samsung apps I could. Most of them work. I think out of the 20 or so I downloaded, I think 16 of them work for me. Now, they literally just opened the floodgates right now, or I think yesterday. So give them time. I've got on Reddit, and I think I found a statement from somebody or a Samsung employee saying all apps will work here shortly, meaning I think it's so new they literally just opened the floodgates that most apps, Samsung apps, will work on all Windows PCs. But if you come across one or two that don't, like you can download it but it won't open, or it just buffers when you go to open it up, give it another day or two, give it a few days, it will work. They said all Samsung apps will work on non-Samsung PCs. So I think everybody's downloading them and trying them out right now. So I think they're a little overwhelmed with the traffic they're getting. But this is very, very, very good news. Very good news. So if you have a Windows PC and you have a Samsung phone, get on your PC, download all these Samsung apps, and have fun. Now, real quick before we get out of here, I have some sad news. Good, classic story, good news, bad news, right? So if you have a Nothing Phone 1, the updates are over. Womp, womp, womp. So they really, when the Nothing Phone 1 first came out, I think they were on like a 3-year update schedule where you'll get software updates and security updates for 3 years, which is, it wasn't that long ago that was a common thing, right? If it wasn't a Pixel, you were only getting 3 years of updates, right? Now, thank God, more phone companies like Samsung, outside of Google, are adopting the longer update schedules, right? I think Samsung's right up there with Google, where it's like 6 years of software updates. I may even think they're 7 years. I don't even know. That's a long freaking time. That's longer than you're going to keep the phone. Quite honestly, that'll go through like the second owner, possibly even third owner. Well, anything is going to update their schedule. When the Nothing Phone 3 comes out here in July, I don't think they're gonna update it as long. I don't think they're gonna be up there with Google or Samsung where they're gonna support it for 6 or 7 years. But I think you're gonna see them support it for longer. They're gonna have a flagship Qualcomm CPU. Qualcomm has been steadfast and dedicated to making sure if you have a device that runs a flagship Qualcomm CPU, that your device can be updated for a longer amount of time. I think you're going to see the Nothing Phone 3 probably do 5 years of 4 to 5. I think probably 5 years of updates. I think their current phone 3A and 3A Pro do 4 years. So you'll slowly see them gradually support it longer. But the Nothing Phone 1 bit the dust. They just received their very last update, software update, security update. And if you have a phone 1, it doesn't mean you have to stop using the phone, right? Because you can always step into the world of flashing ROM, step into that XDA world. It's been a while since I've been in that world, but I used to be a flashaholic. I used to flash back when Google had the Nexus devices. I used to flash ROMs literally every day. Like, I had a problem flashing. Oh, there's this new, I can't even remember the names, but I flashed them all the time. It's pretty easy, and I think it's been a while, but I think it's basically still the same process. I have a fix for you. So if you want to continue using your Nothing Phone 1, right? You can go to this thread down here. I have XDA thread, the fix. So down here I have linked the XDA thread or forum for the Nothing Phone 1. Let's check it out. So here you're going to find everything you need to know about flashing a ROM, a custom recovery on the Nothing Phone 1 to keep the latest and greatest software features on the Nothing Phone 1. The Phone 1 does not have to die. This is like bringing it back to life, basically. So here you'll see the Nothing Phone 1 XDA forum, and then all these have threads, right? So info on the Nothing Phone 1. You can find stock OTA images, over-the-air images, incremental updates, full firmware, and flashing utilities. Right, that's probably the most common thread that's visited here. And if you've never done it before, it's pretty easy. I'm not going to walk you through it because I got to go, but all you got to do is open up one of these little threads here, and the XDA community is pretty easy going. Like, they're pretty helpful. As long as you don't say something rude or real dumb, they'll answer most questions without any issues. But all instructions, all steps, even if you are kind of wary because you don't know what you're doing, and let's say you brick your device, meaning you flash the wrong file and your device is now a big paperweight. Well, we have a fix for that too. Have no worries. I've been there, I've done that. That's why they have stock images posted. That's why they have full firmware files here. So you can just simply always boot it back into recovery. Even if you brick it, it'll boot into recovery. It just won't boot the operating system. Well, boot it into recovery, flash the stock firmware on it, and you're back to normal. And then you can go through the whole process again, see where you went wrong. But just wanted to put that out there. If you are a Phone 1 user, you can still use the phone. Just simply flash some custom ROMs on there. Now, they have some that are just stock ROMs that are just slightly modded. So it doesn't have to be some crazy ROM that makes it look totally different from a Nothing Phone. You can flash the stock firmware on there that's just slightly modified, right? So I'll leave that link down there. It's Mobile Tech News. The link is in the video description, Mobile Tech News, and click on the Nothing Phone 1 story, and I have that XDA link down there for you. But that'll do it. I'm going to get out of here. I do appreciate the time. Thank you for stopping by, and I will see you soon. Appreciate y'all joining me. Peace out.